We're Jane and John Kozdras, and we have gone to church here at New Life Christian Assembly since actually 1975 was the first time we came to church here. We were saved before that. Actually, we were saved on basically a marriage encounter weekend.
Yes.
That's when we made a real commitment to the Lord. We didn't even know what we were doing. We both come from very Catholic backgrounds, and that's basically how we got involved with the Pentecostal church. Kristen was 9 months old at the time, and now Kristen's 40, so that's how long ago that was. And Lamar and Sybil Brazil came up to visit with the Rosses, Gloria and Walter at that time. And they just came up to visit, and they ended up staying. They ended up taking over this church here in Haverhill. So when they took over the church, Coog and I felt we should come and support them. And the first Sunday here, there was 9 people, including Coog and I. As more and more people came, eventually we started having tent meetings in the summer, and those were fantastic. People came from all over. About an hour and a half before these tent meetings would be starting, he'd be out there hammering up a storm and building a platform for them.
I mean, those tent meetings were, pure revival in the sense of the word revival. I mean, you had people, mostly strangers and people that never heard of a tent revival. You had the community pastors like Pastor Hobbs and the pastor from the Baptist Church speak. You had music groups from, we had music groups from all over the country.
The place was jumping. There's no other way to phrase it. It was very exciting to be in those tent meetings. It really was. We were very, very involved in the church. We were a lot younger then. We were cell group leaders. Coog was the leader of the youth group for years. I was the head of the nursery for years. We did things like, all these suppers like they have now. We did all of that stuff. We went to Gar Park. We were very, very involved, and really, we worked an awful lot. He put on the 2 additions to the church.
The first edition, they asked me if I could frame it, and I said, well, how much money in the building fund? And they said, $3,200. I said, okay, I'll do it for $3,200. But I had a crew of like 4 guys that I had to pay.
Yeah.
And plus a lot of the material that included. So, I mean, financially I didn't make any money, but I was blessed at that time,
yes.
so I didn't need it.
Yes.
And then the second edition, when that was proposed, which was a few years later, I asked them how much money they had in the building fund. They only had $2,800. I said, okay, I got to do it for $2,800. So we put the second edition on. And then from there, the church proceeded to save money and actually do the inside finish. The first side was done with sheetrockers with members of the church that were sheetrockers and painters. So all that got done on volunteer work. And the second side, there was a rush. They wanted it done a lot faster, the interior finish, so they hired another member of the church and his brother to do the papiers, to do the altar and the finish and painting of the new addition.
Well, there was also a school started here, as we back up a little bit. Well, Lamar and Sybil Brazil were the pastors here. They had a school. My daughter Kristen, who has been coming to this church with her kids, she went all through high school here. She graduated from high school here. And then I think it just student-wise and the expense of it, the school did fade out. And we continued coming here until my son and his wife, they were going to the Derry Assembly of God Church, and they had 2 children, Brittany and Jake, and we wanted to go where our grandchildren were. So we went up there for 5 years. But then when they moved on, we came back here. When we came back here, the Armadillos were here. But this church has grown a lot. There's 2 services. It was 2 services when the Brazils were here. Then it went to one service for quite a few years. And then when Pastor Rick and Pamela came, as you can well know, you've been here, it has grown. Well, I think the growth of the church I can answer right away. It's like being back 20 years ago.